Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and this is your first time visiting the channel. Hey, welcome. Thank you for taking that chance on this Tarkir Dragonstorm commander. That's one of the 5 dragons that have united to take on. We all know Nicobolus is returning, and by far this commander, this dragon, to me seems the most powerful, or at least the one that stands out most in the official trailer. So let's talk about Ureni the Song Unending. Let's talk about the artwork first. I just think this dragon looks majestic. I think it's just like a hollow spirit glow with exterior shell that you kind of see through. It's simple in its design, just not too excited about it. I feel like it could be better. Like it's like a ghostly form put to reality. Yeah. But with that being said, this is a teamer commander. It has a lands matter theme. It has a great enter the battlefield trigger, and essentially a one-sided board wipe. And I haven't even talked about the protection that it has, and it comes down as a 10/10. This commander is crazy powerful, and honestly, with all those stats and abilities, I think 8 mana is a steal for it. I really do. A lot of people think 8 mana is too much to cast a spell. Sometimes it is, but guess what? Teamer has green, so you can mana ramp and play more lands and do land stuff. So that won't be a problem casting this monster of a commander. And yes, I do enjoy putting out. I do enjoy playing 7 CMC commanders. I actually do that often. I really do. Like Seki Season Guide is one of my favorite commanders. But let's talk about Ureni the song Unending. Let's go. So y'all know by now for 5 green, red, and a blue, this is a 10/10 body legendary creature, spirit dragon, flying, protection from white and from black. What? A 10/10 flyer with protection from white and black. So that means all those swords of plowshares don't mess with it. Uh, I always say terror for my black card as removal. That's so outdated. It's so outdated. Yeah, black cards that remove. Then it says when Ureni enters, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponents control, or X is the number of lands you control. So let's unpack this commander, right? We got a 10/10 flying protection from white, can't be removed easily. So when it enters, you're dealing damage to creatures and planeswalkers that your opponents control, so you can distribute how much damage it is. If you have 10 lands, you're doing 10 damage. You have a teamer commander, you will be mana ramping just to cast this commander. And also we can play blink effects, so we can do this again in case a player has a creature that's extremely high on the toughness scale. And I also thought about if you gave an opponent a stuffy doll. Yeah, if you don't know what stuffy doll is, it's an indestructible artifact creature, and whenever it takes damage, the controller takes that much damage too. So yeah, if you deal 10 damage with Ureni and you blink it again, and you had 10 lands, that's like 20 damage done to the stuffy doll, which ultimately deals 20 damage to your opponent. That'd be a fun little trinket to add into your build, right? Hit the like button if you think that's pretty cool. But otherwise, with that being said, it is a Voltron-ish commander. I would definitely give it protection from green and red included. So I'm thinking about adding swords. I did that in this video. But with the Stuffy Doll situation, I thought about a great card that is the ultimate win con for you with this commander. Let's talk about it. So we have repercussion here. This is the win con that I think would be just devastating once a player or opponents have a huge board and like you got a bunch of lands. So repercussion for 1 and 2 red is an enchantment. It says whenever a creature is dealt damage, repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. So if you have 10 lands and you play Ureni, he's dealing 10 damage or 10 damage distributed amongst creatures. We only can do creatures. We only can target creatures. So if you deal 10 damage to one creature, Guess what? That 10 damage goes to the opponent also. And guess what? Like I said, I mentioned blinking it. If that creature's still alive or it's indestructible, target it again with Ureni, and it does another 10. Your opponent just took 20 damage. 20 damage. Otherwise, Ureni is just a nice board control commander that is a extremely powerful creature. The 10/10. You could give it double strike and it deals 20 damage to an opponent and just buff it a little bit more for commander damage. Easy enough. Let's show some cards for the Blink package. All right, I'm not going to talk about them too much in depth because if you don't know Conjurer's Closet right now, let me introduce it to you. This is a staple Blink card. I believe it's around $3 to $6. Don't quote me on that yet, but you will. It's more than $1. I can tell you that. For 5 mana, it says at the beginning of your end step, you may exile a target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you got to add Essex Flux because for 1 blue mana, it's an instant. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's a spirit, which we have a spirit dragon, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this card is really good because A, it's an instant speed, so you could do this on another player's turn besides the turn that you cast your commander. And you get a +1/+1 counter added to your commander, making him an 11/11. And if you give your commander double strike, that is 22 potential commander damage that you could be dealing to an opponent. And let's not forget that your commander has protection from white and black. So all those angels are generally white and they have flying. They can't block it. Those demons that your opponent control, they usually have flying. They can't block it. You just swing in for commander damage, 10/10. It's just like an auto commander damage kill commander. That's what this is. And to the right hand side, we got Blur. Does the same thing, except for you get the draw card. Cool. Moving on to the swords. So when I saw the commander, I was like, you might as well equip swords that give it protection from the other colors and almost making it like a commander's plate. So we got Sword of Forge and Frontier for 3 mana. Artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and from green. So that means whatever the green card to destroy target creature, and your opponent gets a 3/3 elephant or elk, whatever, beast token. Yeah, that doesn't work. Or burn spells won't work on this either. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land this turn. Cool. You get to play an additional land and mana ramp. Equip 2. Next up, we got Sword of Body and Mind for 3 mana. Artifact equipment. Equip 2. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and from blue. Okay, its own colors. So yeah, anybody that tries to bounce your commander, they cannot do that. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and that player mills 10 cards. We're not interested in the 2/2 wolf creature, but making your opponent mill 10 cards is pretty devastating, as a 10/10 flyer is coming at them. Yeah. So these 4 cards here are when you have Urani on the battle or entering the battlefield, and you deal excess damage, meaning you do more damage than the creature's toughness. So why not get a payoff for that? Let's see. Let's start over here with the Green Dragon for 6 mana, 4/4 flyer. It says when Green Dragon is the battlefield until end of turn, whenever a creature an opponent control is dealt damage, destroy it. So if you have burn spells with this commander, or some other way to deal non-combat damage, or you put in or you blinked in your commander, you can just literally a one-sided board wipe and deal 1 damage to each of those creatures when Green Dragon is the battlefield. Next up in the middle, we got Magmatic Galleon. It's an artifact vehicle, 5/5 body, 3 and 2 red. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature and opponent controls. Whenever one or more creatures your opponent's control are dealt excess damage, non-combat damage, create a treasure token. Mana ramp. Quartz Crasher. Quartzwood Crasher. This is one of my favorite dinosaurs. For 2 red and a green, 6/6 body dinosaur beast. Trample. Whenever one or more creatures you control with trample, deal damage to a combat player. Create an excess green dinosaur beast creature token with trample, where excess the amount of damage those creatures dealt to that player. So With this, all you need to do is give your commander trample. It's already protection white, protection black, flyer. And if you give it trample, your opponent most likely can't block it. Then you can make possibly a 10-10 dinosaur with trample. Then that 10-10 dinosaur with trample, if that deals damage, you can make another 10-10 dinosaur with trample. You see where this goes? Yeah. I think there's a game ender, really. Fall of Kyr Andros for 2 and a red. It says whenever it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, non-combat damage, amass Orc X, where X is the excess damage. So it also says tap 7 mana and a red, it deals 7 damage to target creature. This is just a giant burn spell on a stick, pretty much. You can control the board, but when you deal excess damage, you are making an army. So if you had 10 lands and you did 10 damage to a 1/1 creature, you have a 9/9 orc. And those 9/9 are in 9+1/+1 counters. So moving on to cards you possibly have missed. So we got Rapid Bite here. This is a fight spell. If you never played with fight spells before, it's a way for green to have removal. And it's based on your creature's power. So you deal that much power to target creature. Now, Rapid Bite's not the best one. There are instant ones that can deal fight type of damage. And I think this is a really good card for Ureni because you might need to get rid of a powerful creature. You just need some type of removal spell. Honestly, if I'm building this deck, the deck is centered around Ureni. I'm ramping, ramping, ramping. I got a bunch of supportive, interactive magic card spells like Rapid Bite, and where I can just deal, you know, non-combat damage to creatures, players, and targets, and keep the board clear. Um, Low CMC, nice on your mana curve. Next up, we have Baldavian Berserker for 2 and a red, 1/3 body, core Berserker. It has the ability Enlist. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning Sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's until end of turn. When Baldavian Berserker dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So most likely you will be attacking with Ureni. But let's say a opponent puts a prison effect on your commander. So your commander cannot attack, which is Ureni. Heck, you can tap him and use his power to enlist onto the Baldavian Berserker. And now you have a 11, 14? Well, no, I'm sorry. No, you have a 11/3 creature, right? And when that 11/3 creature dies, oh, it's a fling effect, pretty much. It's a sacrifice, and you can deal 11 damage to any target. Moving on to the summary. Thank you for watching this video on Ureni the Song Unending, one of the 5 Tarkir Dragonstorm commanders. I think it's pretty cool. I do like Voltron. Temur Commander is straightforward. It's going to be super powerful. It's a flyer, protection from white, protection from black. It deals excess damage, and it rewards you for playing a bunch of lands. So what are we talking about here? Super cool commander. I'm excited to build with it. Hopefully it's not that expensive. I can see it being expensive. I can, for some strange reason. It just could be popular. I think it don't look the coolest, but I can just feel it. I got an energy vibe. Anyways, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank y'all. Peace.